Alrighty. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this morning. Um, I'm actually really excited for today's session because I truly love to recognize others, especially the students that I work with. With next week being National Student Employee Appreciation Week, we couldn't think of a better topic to be discussing today. Um, Today, we do have Patty from OHR joining us to walk us through, again, just different ways and how we can be showing our working learners or student employees the recognition and appreciation that they deserve. So with that being said, Patty, would you mind introducing yourself?
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Well, thank you for having me here today. Like Abby said, my name is Patty Raciano. I am a senior program coordinator in the Office of Human Resources in the Leadership and Workforce Development team. My primary duties revolve around employee recognition, engagement, such as new employee orientation, the United Way campaign, the employee appreciation barbecues. If you were the one on Tuesday, I was there. I play a part in that and different other, workshops, development opportunities around that area. I've been with ASU 18 years, and I would say in all that time, I've kind of had a hand in creating, engagement opportunities, whether it was through professional development, events, special programming for our faculty, staff, and students as well. I like to joke because the slide says on there, I'm the one who sends the United Way emails. So you might get those emails. Yes, that's coming from me. And you're probably deleting them. That's okay. But that's one of the programs I oversee. So yeah, happy to talk about United Way, obviously in a different capacity. But I'm here to join you today to discuss about, how to build a culture of appreciation with recognition for your student employees.
So with that being said, just wanted to give you all kind of an overview of what we're going to be discussing today. Um, of course, all about recognition and appreciation, right? So we're going to be talking about what that really means, why it's important, why we should be practicing that with our employees, whether it's professional staff or especially our student employees. We'll also talk about best practices, different strategies that you could use just to stay on top of showing appreciation. Again, next week is National Student Employee Appreciation Week. However, I think it's really important that we're showing our students that kind of recognition and appreciation throughout the year. So Patty has a couple different tips for us on how we can be doing that. We'll also be wrapping up with sharing a few different resources that you can use specific for next week's National Student Employee Appreciation Week, but also just general resources that you can be using throughout the year. Um, I will say, feel free if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please use the chat. If there's time at the end, we'd love to have some Q&A, but again, feel free to utilize that chat option. But with that being said, Patty.
Thank you. All right. So I thought I could begin with kind of breaking things down for you guys a little bit in regards to what is recognition, what is appreciation. We often use these words interchangeably and think of them as the same thing. But while they're both important, there's a big difference between both of them. For leaders who want their teams to thrive and for leaders who want their teams to thrive and organizations, they want to create cultures of engagement, loyalty, high performance. And it's important to understand the distinction. So this distinction matters because recognition and appreciation are given, for different reasons. Even when people succeed, and inevitably there will be failures and challenges along the way. Kind of depending on the project, there may not even be tangible results to point to. So if you focus solely on praising positive outcomes on recognition, you miss out on those lots of opportunities to connect with and support your team members to appreciate them. The easiest way to remember the distinction is recognition is it's like a Sun Award. I hope you know what Sun Award is. So recognition is like a Sun Award at ASU, and appreciation would be like a thank you note or an e-card. One is not enough without the other, obviously, but today we are just going to focus on recognition. All right. So why is recognition important? I want to kind of throw that question out to you guys. Take a moment to think about it. If you want to drop it in the chat here, we'll give you a few moments here and I'll read a few off as they come in. But why is it important? Why do you think it matters? Oh, retention? Yep, absolutely. I'd say that's the number one. Yes, retention. Others? Motivation? Absolutely. Positive reinforcement builds awareness. Yes. To help employees feel like they're seen and heard. Absolutely. Engagement. Yep. I definitely relate to what Caitlin is saying to have employees feel seen and heard. For me personally, I like that component of recognition when I'm, in the weeds, doing the work, doing a great job. I want to be felt and I want to be or seen. I want to be heard. It makes me feel valued. Yep, engagement, appreciation, just a sense of belonging. Absolutely. Especially nowadays, I think with us being, with COVID, we went to hybrid. There's employees that are remote. You got to create that sense of belonging. And I know that can be a challenge at times, especially now with how everything's changed since then. Overall job satisfaction, yes, reinforcement and meaningful to the team, make them feel part of the team. Absolutely. These are all great and they all hit the mark on why recognition is important. Connection, yep, connection is a big part of that as well. So it is about showing employees, the respect that they deserve. It's about showing them what you've noticed and appreciate all their hard work that they are doing. Recognize employees are happy employees, right? And I won't read all of these. We'll touch on them as we go through the presentation, but some of you talked about this. So increases employee motivation and retention. That is key right there. Helps build a supportive work environment, morale, right? And increases morale. And also, I think somebody mentioned the sense of ownership or creating that sense of belonging. I think that is key as well. Next slide, please. So I just want to share some findings here with you on recognition. So as organizations face challenges of increasingly strained budgets, burned out workforce, how do we keep employees engaged, right? This includes your students. How do you keep them engaged? So without breaking the bank, right? Especially in this piece from HBR, the authors share new research on the power of symbolic awards, such as, thank you notes, public recognition, certificates. They find that these simple interventions can significantly improve employee motivation. More often than not, employees want to go to work and they want to feel recognized for their contributions. To clarify, to maximize the effect of this symbolic awards, it's essential to customize them to your unique context. Specifically, prior research highlights 5 key considerations for, supervisors when looking to implement symbolic awards. The most impactful messenger, the best timing, whether to make it private or public, attention to detail, and the importance of starting small. And we'll talk about the starting small because that is easy to do. While these interventions are no substitute for, monetary compensation, especially when cash is limited, symbolic awards can go a long way to demonstrate your, your appreciation that you value your employees and keep their spirits high. Just to break it down a little bit, so what is the messenger? Who is the award coming from, right? Who is that? The timing, when will the recognition make the most impact? And we'll come back to that a little bit because I do think timing of recognition is extremely important. Public versus private. Some people like to be recognized in public, maybe on a stage somewhat, or maybe they like privately, right? Maybe just a little thank you note card or just a Sun Award, nothing that displays it on a stage for them. Private feedback is appropriate, obviously, in some situations, but public recognition, maybe such as awarding certificates during a team meeting, is really important and can also be a cost-effective way to motivate the entire team. And then public recognition, like I said, it's more impactful, I think, to a recipient. It can also boost their motivation among the employees. And we'll talk about that. There's a worksheet that you can have your student employees complete, whether to note, do you like public recognition, private recognition? Tell me why and how you like to be recognized. Details, they do matter. So people can tell the difference between a rush job and a genuine act of recognition. And then starting small. So recognizing that your student employees shouldn't feel like this is a daunting, task. Try out something small first. If you don't know where to start, examples, maybe do something short, maybe a personalized note to them, maybe doing some type of public recognition, but in a team setting, not on a large setting, or just hold some kind of team building morale, whether it's an activity or a meeting for that matter. And then according to Forbes, there's some other reasons here, three reasons why employee recognition will always matter. And you guys touched on these again. Good vibes in the office translate into a happier and more peaceful, um, just, or I'm sorry, I think I jumped out a little bit. Sorry about that. Recognized employees are happy employees. I kind of jumped on there. And then appreciative leaders are appreciated leaders. And then when employees feel recognized, they do stick around. So you do want to commit to year-round recognition. I think that is crucial. We'll go over, I think, some tips, some strategies coming up here in a bit that'll show you how to commit to year-round recognition.
Yeah, so as Patty's saying, it can kind of be one of those things where like, okay, so where do I even start? Well, first, you should be able to identify an opportunity, just keeping your eyes open, watching your working learners, your student employees, what are they doing, tasks that they're completing, just making sure you yourself are in a receptive frame of mind to be able to see the accomplishments your students have. But then second part to that is to do the physical art of recognition, right? So as an example to that, one of my working learners that I supervise, she's a she's a visual designer. So she's doing all of our different Zoom backgrounds that you might see, website updates that we have, but she's also starting to branch out and just help with the greater university college design work. So University College, we recently moved to a new space, and Megan had the opportunity to lead a project designing the signs posted on the stairwells on the exterior parts of our building, helping to direct students to this new location. This new location houses, of course, the Work Plus Learn office, our Explore Advising, but it also is housing the Student Success Center. So students coming to meet with their peer coaches, different things like that. So it was really important that students were able to find the new location, right? So Megan being able to design the signage for that, not only was it very effective, but it's a beautiful sign that she made. I took 5 seconds to snap a picture of it, post it outside of our building, and threw it into our University College private Slack channel that we had, just to say, hey, I want to take 2 seconds to recognize the work that one of our students just did. How amazing, right? So again, it can be something as small and as simple as that, just to give the recognition. I've heard some others from the department just stop by when they see Megan, just to give her kudos to, like, hey, great work, that's awesome. So again, just it can be something as little and as quick as that. But I did want to take just a quick pause. If anybody has an example of your own that you'd like to share, in a way that maybe you've celebrated or recognized one of your working learners, or if me just saying that example has jogged your memory or something in mind that you're like, ooh, I could also go give appreciation or recognition to my students. But again, want to take a second, feel free to come off mute, throw it in chat, whatever you're comfortable with.
Hi, Abby, this is Paulette. I just wanted to indicate that although I have told our student workers what a great job they have done, but I also just appreciate our team members within our hub, as well, for showing that appreciation to them, sending them the Sun Awards and acknowledging them face to face, the way that they're comfortable with these appreciations and acknowledgements.
Absolutely. Thank you, Paulette. And I saw Dava put in the chat, they're doing shout outs in their weekly meeting. So like Patty said, again, you can do a quick recognition shout out in a meeting. Paulette even mentioned, understanding and knowing if they like that kind of public recognition or keeping it more private. That is something else that, just being fully transparent, when I was a new supervisor, I wanted to celebrate one of my students. It was her birthday. I stopped at Fry's on my way to work and got just a little bouquet of flowers with a balloon that said happy birthday. I thought she would love it. She was mortified because then she had to walk around and everybody knew it was her birthday, and she didn't like that kind of recognition. And I, to this day, feel horrible about it. So I'm always making sure that my students are comfortable with that kind of recognition. Do you want to keep it more just private with our immediate team? Can we share this to the greater university college team? That kind of thing. I saw another one in the chat. Lindsay likes to bring in a treat to their staff meetings with the students when they go above and beyond. So absolutely, again, if you're able to bring in a snack or a treat, a quick and easy way there, low cost too on that one.
Hi. I always bring in stuff like for the holidays or treat them to Starbucks often, and try to include them. Always tell them I appreciate them, thank you, because they do a lot of work, and also want to try to focus on what it is their focus studies in, so then I can give them work towards that and try to ask them, what is it that you want to do? Because we're here to help you, and we're supposed to give them the tools. And I try to give them the tools all the time. When you go to work, first thing you do is look at your emails, always check them, like number one, right? I try to give them those tools, and always trying to say thank you to them. And I have another co-supervisor who supervises with them, and we're always trying to do that. And before, when we had another student worker, we would include them in the meetings and doing that. And we're going to try to get back to doing that with the ones that we just hired as well. But, you know, we're here to help them for their future, and you got to show them appreciation, because it can be high turnover. If you don't appreciate or show, people will go. So and it starts with the student workers. They're more of a high turnover. So I'm always thanking them, and they're doing a great job.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad this is being recorded because you said that so perfectly, honestly. One thing, like you just said, providing opportunities to our students. And it's almost like you jumped ahead and you read some of our slides because we're going to hit on that too. Providing opportunities, understanding what our students are studying. What are you wanting to do with this degree? And is there any way in the work that we're doing now that I can start giving you tasks that's going to align with that? I love it. Just wanted to read a couple more out of the chat because these are all great examples. Amanda mentioned acknowledging them on their birthday, having a birthday card signed by all their coworkers, whether that's their fellow working learner student employees, but also any of the professional staff members that they might be engaging with. That can really mean a lot to the students. Developing them professionally, Eric said as well, keeping them involved in those academic year projects, fiscal projects, giving them praise as they are adapting and learning. That is something I will always say too, reminding us ourselves that the students, for some, this may be their first job. So they are having to learn and adjust to a new way, right? But also reminding for ourselves too, we should be continuing to learn and develop ourselves. And so holding that kind of grace with our students that they are also learning and this is new to them. We've all been in a new position before as well. Amy had mentioned including them in professional staff events and meetings. If it's possible to include them in those more professional conversations, keeping them kind of in the loop of what your department might be doing or new projects that might be coming up. Again, just reinforces that we understand the level of work that they're doing and the contribution that they are making, because while yes, they are students, they are very capable, and many are doing projects or leading work that is equivalent to work professional staff is doing. So again, just helping them see the importance. And again, this is a real position. These are real experiences our students can be talking about in their resumes and in future job interviews and things like that. So thank you all again for sharing some of your examples in different ways that you're recognizing your students. So continuing to look at different ways we can recognize our students. Of course, it's important to be specific, not just a blank praise, nor just giving them praise because, oh, I heard it's National Student Employment Appreciation Week, I should probably say thank you, right? So again, another example with this, one of my students, she manages our social media account. So she's building all of the content that is on our Instagram. She's going out and engaging with other accounts through our Instagram account. And through this, she's really just increased our followers, the number of followers that we have, the engagement, really a lot in the first 6 months that she was working with us. I could have simply said, hey, great job managing the Work Plus Instagram account. Thank you. Or I could have been more specific and acknowledged the fact that, hey, you've done a great job making sure that the videos and images are accessible by any and all of our followers, making sure that we have captions on the videos so those that may be hard of hearing are able to follow along. And I noticed our the engagement on our posts is up 16% since you started to manage the account. That is amazing. Thank you. Again, both is really saying the same message, but that second one is just showing her that I understand the work that she's been doing and I see the impact it's having. So again, having those specific examples ready rather than just a blanket thank you for them. So one way or tool that you can use when trying to reflect on a specific example like that is just keeping the the ABCs of recognition in mind. So making sure that you're noticing attitudes, behaviors, or contributions that they're making. Consider these the three main areas that you're looking for when you are getting ready to give that thanks to your students. So again, what attitude or behavior did they display when assisting you? What contributions did they have that might have been kind of above and beyond? Just again, take note of those when it occurs to document and recognize. You may not be able to give them that recognition in the moment, but keeping note of, hey, last Thursday during our staff meeting, I noticed that you, whatever the example is, again, just to be able to show them that you are paying attention, you are seeing the work that they're doing and the efforts that they're putting forth.
And I know Abby touched on this a little bit, but what types of recognition, and I guess I'm looking at maybe some of the ASU resources, the ones we have maybe, or maybe I think I heard somebody say, shout outs, they do weekly shout outs. But what types of recognition, I guess, is your team currently utilizing for student employees? Again, you can type them in the chat. Oop, I think my lights went off in the, there we go. Sorry about that. That happens once in a while, right? But feel free to type that. And I'm looking more about what maybe, are you using Sun Awards? Are you using that recognition worksheet? Which I realized as Abby was talking about, I don't think I included a screenshot of that, but I'll share it on my screen here in a bit and I'll make sure to send that out to Abby. But maybe those type of things. What are you currently using? Is it working too? Or go ahead, Abby.
Patty, I was just going to say the worksheet that you were talking about, we actually have linked on our Work Plus Supervisor Hub.
Okay.
So there is a how to recognize me worksheet linked on our Supervisor Hub. And again, I will send a link here in just a few moments about that. But easy access, again, as Patty's saying, I love using it. That is something I include for any of my new hires. They fill out that worksheet for me, just as important as it is that they're doing their FERPA training. Like, let me know how I can recognize you. So again, that is a resource that we have on our Supervisor Hub for anybody to access and share with your own students.
Yes, it is a great document. And I do encourage you, have your whole team, not just student employees, but your current employees fill out. We do that here on our team. When somebody's onboarding, we have them fill out that recognition sheet. And, again, it just captures their preference. How do you like to be recognized? What treats do you like? Or, do you have maybe a favorite snack? And I'm going to throw myself out there. My team knows that I love Flaming Hot Cheetos. So if my birthday comes around, I might find a bag of Flaming Hot Cheetos on my desk because I like that. And I love Gerber daisies. So it's just a great way to capture that individual's preference. And you might get some individuals and even student employees who fill it out and be like, I don't like any of this. Just send me a thank you email. And that's okay. That's okay too. Have them fill that out. I think it's just a great tool to have for all your employees to kind of use. And with this item, I was talking more, and somebody did, yep, they do gift cards, Sun Awards, candies, treats around the semester. I was going to talk more so about kind of the types of recognition that you can do if you're not familiar with this. So obviously there's kind of the day-to-day type of recognition that you could do, maybe those shout outs, those Sun Awards that we were talking about earlier. Your day-to-day recognition plan should be designed to kind of recognize behaviors that support, your core values. It should be accessible to everybody. Again, this could even be a verbal praise. Maybe you're just walking down the hallway and you see, student, great job on that project you did for me. E-cards, any kind of maybe peer-to-peer day-to-day type of program recognition. Again, shout outs are just a great way to get your employees engaged in your culture. So whether you're at work, home, or even, cross-country practice, just a little day-to-day recognition can go a long way. The other types of recognition we have above and beyond, I'm sure you may have heard of this, so that can be given, or actually, that's more kind of a formal recognition program, I guess you can say. So it's kind of just designed to recognize those actions that help achievements, significant achievements, I guess you should say, whether it's individual, teams. I do know of a lot of departments, units across here at ASU that host type of above and beyond awards or nominations. They might have like an employee of the year, a student worker of the month, something, or quarterly of the month. So those type of things. Again, it's more of a formal recognized program. So obviously having a committee to kind of design that all out. What does that look like? Input nomination process, award ceremony, etc. Milestones is another one. This one's a big one that you should already be doing. It's pretty simple to do. So these are just maybe service anniversaries. If that student worker is celebrating their first year in your department, recognize that. You give them a, certificate, a card, something that says 1 year, happy 1 year. I know on the slide here it says retirement. Obviously, if our students become full-time employees, yes, and they stay all the way through ASU, recognize that retirement. Any personal professional achievement too, that is a milestone. If that student worker, if they put in 3 years at your department, they're finally graduating, you should celebrate that graduation, right? Moving them to that next level. And you can start out, especially with the milestones, that's an easy thing to do. I like to just put reminders in my calendar. Obviously, utilize your Outlook. If you know those birthdays, anniversaries, somebody's, maybe getting married or, they're graduating, this is the date, put those on your Outlook calendar. I think that'll help you a lot. I even do that with Employee Appreciation Day. It's the first Friday of every March. So I put that in my Outlook calendar that day. I'm kind of taking time to send out Sun Awards, e-cards, anything I can do to recognize our student workers here or any other employees. So do something for your employees, I would say. That kind of ties to these again, day to day, above and beyond milestones. And then when giving recognition, and I know Abby talked a little bit about this, she touched on some of the same items I have here. So when performing the art of recognition, there is something that's called like the ASAP cube. This is kind of a guideline by Bob Nelson. He's a recognition expert. So you want to do it soon. Timing is everything. I can't stress that enough. Don't wait until 3-4 months down the road to tell them, hey, great job on that project you did for me, several months ago. Don't wait. Timing is important. If they did a great job on something for you, you need to recognize them as soon as possible. Also, as sincere, do it because you are truly appreciative, I think it needs to come from the heart. Be sincere in how you kind of word that recognition out to them. As specific, and I think Abby talked a little bit about this, so don't just say thanks, and not explain yourself. That's like me coming up to somebody and be like, hey, great job on that one thing you did the other day. It was fantastic. And that person has no idea what I'm talking about, right? You're kind of leaving them in that deer headlight kind of look, and they're like, what are they talking about? So you need to be specific about what you're recognizing them for, right? Go into detail. The more details, the better, because then they know, yeah, that was me. I did work on that. Thank you for acknowledging me on that. As personal, again, this one's tricky. This goes back to whether people like to prefer in person versus private recognition. So if they do like being recognized in person, do it in person. I think that's just a great way to encourage them, get them engaged, get them motivated. As positive, don't mix criticism when you are recognizing somebody. That's a big no. Save those critiques for, your one-on-ones, their performance evaluation time. Don't mix it in when you're recognizing them. And as proactive, don't wait for the perfect performance. You need to recognize your employees. I have another workshop where I talk about you need to recognize your employees for their successes and their failures, right? We need to recognize that. Because you're never going to have that perfect performance. It might happen, but recognize that you're going to be waiting forever. If you got to recognize them for a variety of things, kind of those shout outs. Maybe they did something, maybe they answered the phone or stayed a little bit late to help that one customer. So those type of things. And I think the next one, yep, there is a screenshot there of the recognition workshop. I couldn't remember if it was in there, but I believe Abby's going to take this one.
Yeah. Amy, would you mind throwing the link to our supervisor hub for this worksheet? And Patty, if you're okay with it, I would love to take just like 5 minutes or so and let folks kind of fill out that worksheet.
Sure.
Or review it and see if that's something that they'd like to share with their own student employees.
Okay.
Oops. Maybe. Perfect. Thank you so much, Amy. So that link that Amy just shared in the chat with us is to our Work Plus Supervisor Hub. if you scroll down to the supervisor resources within the supporting working learners box, you will see a recognition worksheet. This is that same worksheet that Patty is talking about. I will say we have made it just a couple tweaks to make it more student focused and less of the pro staff focus that Patty has on their website. But again, feel free to go ahead, fill that out for yourself. It looks like Amy also shared the link to the direct worksheet if you'd like to just click on that link directly. But again, would like to take a moment. If anybody has any comments on it or things that maybe stand out to you, I'd love for you to share that with us. Again, feel free to come off mute, throw it in the chat, whatever you all are comfortable with. But like I said, I do want to take just a moment here, allow you the time to go through that.
I was going to mention, I think it's great that you guys customize it. We do tell departments that while we shared that worksheet, obviously we can send it to you guys in Word, edit to however you like. I've seen different versions of it, so I think it's fantastic.
Wonderful. And I will say too, I love this because I'm the type of person that you can tell me something and I will genuinely listen to you, but if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget about it. I'm going to be like, oh, I think she said something about, I don't remember what it was, but I, again, love this because on this worksheet, we are asking the students to list out 3 professional goals that you have. So again, starting to see where they are seeing themselves post ASU, what kind of career field are they looking to get into? Again, you'll see too, we also ask if your student is comfortable sharing 3 personal goals, they can share those there as well. Those are easy for you then as a supervisor. I know somebody mentioned earlier, they like to align the work that they're having their students complete with them to go with their career aspirations. This is a great resource for you to just go back and look. You can also have it as a Google Doc. That's how I have it with my students. So my students are able to go in and update it as they're working through things. I've had one student where I saw her professional goal I wanted to talk about in our one-on-one. When I went back to it, it wasn't there anymore. So I asked her, I was like, hey, what's up with that? I thought you were really looking forward to that. She laughed and she said, Abby, when I first started doing it, I thought I really liked it, but nope, that is not at all what I thought it was going to be. I don't want to do that. So I removed it. I'm not worried about that anymore. And I was like, well, great. I'm glad that we learned what we don't like, right? So again, just a great resource that you can use, a good tool to have for your one-on-ones with your students. I see in the comments, somebody said, in addition to listing out Amazon or restaurant gift cards, it could be beneficial to include grocery store gift cards or Walmart, Fry's, Albertsons, different things like that. Again, keeping in mind our audience, college students, they always appreciate free food, right? Or help with groceries, help with whatever the case may be. So that is a great idea. And like Patty said, I'm also more than happy if you all edit this to best represent or fit for your team. Any other comments, thoughts on that worksheet? Does anybody use something similar to this currently?
I saw that in the chat. So we actually did revise it. So the professional staff version, let me send it to Abby because I don't think the new version is online yet. So I'll send her that Word document. I actually brought it up on the back end here and look. So we did change it a little bit. And I'm gonna follow up with my comm team here because they should have updated, but I don't think they have. But we'll send out that professional one. Absolutely.
And yep, I will include that in a little follow-up email to you all so you guys have access to both the student employee version that Work Plus has, but then also the version that Patty is going to share with me.
I think the idea of kind of integrating into Google is great. Might have to do that with ours because then it just drops it for you in all this little nice little spreadsheet.
Absolutely. Alrighty. And seeing again, folks are saying that some already utilize this worksheet. Others are doing a Google survey very similar to this. Again, thank you all for already using tools like this and being kind of ahead of the game in that sense. All right, so this is going to sound really silly because I know we're in 2024 and we've been doing Zoom meetings forever, but are you all still seeing my slides? Or are you looking at the document with me? Because I can't tell on my computer. Is it the slides?
It's the document.
Okay.
The document.
Thank you. Sorry about that. There we are. Are we back? Okay, wonderful. So again, just to recap and talk about tips and low cost ideas. Again, it does not have to be anything crazy. You do not have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars to show our students that we recognize the work they're doing. So again, just kind of recapping some of the things Patty and I have already said, but again, making sure it's a sincere thank you. That is the easiest and most cost-effective thing that you can do. So again, whether that's done verbally, through a card or an e-card or even a Sun Award, again, just a sincere thank you is the easiest, simplest thing you can do. We've been talking about kind of going above and beyond. So you can utilize ABCD cards, which is above the call of duty. So if you notice that your student is going beyond what they were expected to do, they've taken a step further, they've taken the initiative themselves to lead a project, whatever the case may be, create some ABCD cards to give out to your students as you see them going above the call of duty. You could also consider offering a flexible schedule for your students. So that is, I think, a cool part of being a supervisor to our working learners. We're the ones facilitating the experience. We're in the driver's seat when it comes to our students' schedules. Be flexible with them. Let them take a little bit of a longer lunch because maybe they put in some extra work for an event one time, or give them an extra 15-minute break. Different things like that, again, just shows your students that you are seeing them, you understand and recognize the work they're doing, maybe understand and recognize that, hey, they're a student first and there's a lot going on right now, whatever the case may be. That can just be another easy option to be flexible with their schedule. Going based off of the comment we just had about gift cards for grocery stores or restaurants, that is something that I think just about every college student appreciates is food. So if you're able to provide a gift card for their favorite restaurant or groceries, or as many have said too, bringing small snacks or a lunch to a meeting, that could really show your appreciation towards your students and the work that they're doing. One of my personal favorite ways to show recognition and appreciation to my students is writing a LinkedIn recommendation for them. So having that recommendation already from a current or previous supervisor on their LinkedIn profile. So when future employers or whatever the case may be are looking at their profile, they will already start to see those positive recommendations. In addition to the recommendations, or in lieu of the recommendations, you can also endorse your working learners on certain skills. So again, understanding whatever industry your students are going in, if there are certain skills that are specific to that industry that you know employers are going to be looking to see if this candidate has experience in, endorse them on that skill on their LinkedIn profile. Small things like that. And again, that is a free thing that we can do for our students. It'll just take 10, 15 minutes of your time to write up that rec. Another one, you can give a shout out to your students on your department social media. Of course, with the students' consent, make sure that they are okay with their image and name being used on social media like that, but honor them at the next staff meeting too. Showcase the work or projects that they've completed, different things like that. So I do want to use ASU's social embeddedness network as an example. I follow them on their LinkedIn profiles and Instagram, and they are constantly posting recognition to the students. This student just presented at this conference and here's what they talked about, kind of thing, or showcasing that these students are graduating, congrats to this student and good luck on your next endeavors, whatever the case may be there. But again, social media can be a free tool to use as long as your student is okay with it. So again, making sure that they're okay with that public recognition. I know we talked about it very briefly earlier, but providing that opportunity. People love to have the chance for trainings or cross trainings, whether that's professional staff or the student employees. They want to participate. They want to lead a special project where their talents are being noticed. So if we are able to provide those additional opportunities, taking it just a step further than their day-to-day tasks, or again, understanding what their future career aspirations are and how we might be able to align different projects within our own department to that future career. I did also want to say, specifically for National Student Employee Appreciation Week next week, We do have this document that I'm going to put in the chat right now for you all, that just is a guide kind of with more ideas or templates that you can use specifically for National Student Employee Appreciation Week. There are some other more general ones in there that is not branded towards this National Student Employee Appreciation Week that you can use throughout the year. But again, just wanted you all to have access to that guide as well. Patty, what should I avoid when I'm giving recognition?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So just a couple of things when it comes to, and some of these might just be follow up from what we mentioned before. So expressions of gratitude that are, inauthentic or sweeping generalizations. Again, when you're recognizing someone, it needs to be specific. It needs to be genuine. Like I said, it should come from the heart, right? So don't kind of dismiss it, I guess, when it comes to that. Also neglecting standard company procedures. A lot of supervisors, managers, they feel like, annual reviews, quarterly check-ins, or even nominating that employee or a student employee, if you like a student recognition program for awards. Some of them a lot of times feel like that's a waste of time, but to that employee, believe it or not, it's an important milestone that provides just further clues to their progress and performance. So when you skip that, they're going to kind of feel like they don't value, again, they're not important. Also letting them feel isolated from coworkers or just the larger organization. For managers, it's much easier to see how the contribution of each person fit with the work of others, but employees often lack that insight. So when managers highlight how employees use one another's work within their department or across others, it sets that stage again for appreciation to kind of spread throughout the organization. And then lastly, that sudden or unexplained shift in your practices, right? Maybe you have been doing monthly Sun Awards or something, and then you kind of immediately stop, right? If you haven't been focused on showing that employee their appreciation, or don't overcompensate for it, chances are they're going to see that your efforts, again, are as insincere. So just let them know maybe that you're working on developing your gratitude skills as a leader. Again, have that conversation with them. I also want to talk more about some ASU resources that we do have too. So, and some of these, I didn't include all of them because obviously they don't apply to some of the student employees, but we do have what is known as the ASU Appreciation Hub. It's similar to the Sun Award in that you can send an e-card to a faculty, staff, or student employee. From the screenshot here that you can see, you can choose from a variety of categories. We even have some customized ASU ones in there. You can do a personalized message, you can copy others and indicate kind of a date to send that. And on the next slide, there's kind of just an example of one. So maybe you're getting a new student employee, you want to welcome them to the team. This is the one that we have here that's customized with the ASU, as you can see, kind of that Hayden Library background shot. So like I said, it's customizable. Just put in that individual's name, email, send it out, and they will receive that. Some other tools that we have that your students can take advantage of as student employees are our recognition Zoom background. So maybe they're celebrating their 1-year anniversary with your area. Feel free to access those Zoom recognition backgrounds, download it. We even have some that promote the Sun Awards. I have one behind me, as you can see. We had these designed about a year ago. We do have some other ones, but they're more driven towards our employees. But there are some standard ones that your student employees can take advantage of if they like.
And I do want to note too, we have created some Zoom backgrounds specifically for National Student Employee Appreciation Week next week. So we'll have some that your students can use, saying that, hey, I am a student employee. Or also for you all as supervisors, kind of saying that I'm a student employment champion. I'm here to help my student employees, that kind of thing. So I will be sharing those out with the Student Employment Supervisor Slack channel by tomorrow. And then throughout next week, I will be pushing different reminders and resources through that Slack channel too, just about how are we celebrating our students. So feel free next week to throw how you are celebrating your students in that Slack channel. Share with other supervisors what you're doing. Learn from other supervisors what they're doing, that kind of thing.
And of course, I just want to do a plug-in for the Sun Award. That's one of our biggest recognition tools that you can use. It's just an easy way to give like specific immediate recognition. This does include student employees. So when student employees are within that Sun Award database, so you can send Sun Awards to them. They can send Sun Awards as well. It's just as it says on here, it's just a thoughtful, positive way to honor an employee for supporting university goals. And then on the next screenshot, I actually did include that went to my student worker here, Angel. So as you can see, Angel received a copy of the Sun Award from Kristen Young. She was previously in our department, just appreciating, recognizing him for all the work that he's done for our department, supporting me, etc. So like I said, student workers are eligible to receive it. Same way as it works now, their supervisor can get a copy of this if you've seen that field. If you know that individual supervisor, put it in there, and then they get a copy as well. So then they get a double recognition from their supervisor.
So again, committing to a recognition all year round. How can we do that? Start by placing reminders on your calendar. Like Patty said, if you know their anniversary date working with your department, if you know their birthday, if they celebrate that, add that to your calendar now so that it's just a reoccurring thing. You won't forget that the student's birthday is coming up. Or again, like Patty said, adding graduation dates to your calendar. If your student has invited you to come to their ceremony, throw that on your calendar so you don't forget about it. Of course, too, you can use some of those silly holidays that are out there now too. So I know Patty had mentioned just employee appreciation being the first Friday of March, but also looking at just because day, celebrating it on August 27th, just because it's a national holiday. Let me say thanks to you as my student, right? There's September 15th, National Thank You Day. So it is a day just to say thank you, just to be thankful for the individuals in our lives and working with us. Of course, too, like Patty was saying, making it a habit, maybe on a monthly or biweekly basis, sending a Sun Award to one of your students, or maybe another student in your department that has been helping you out, different things like that. Again, just setting those reminders on your calendar is going to be the first place I would start, and one of the easiest ways to help you keep track of those dates, especially if you're a supervisor or a department that does employ a large number of students. Just an easier way to help you keep track of that and making sure you don't miss anybody. Alrighty, we are going to do just one more little activity if you would like to join us on this one. This link is going to take you to some of those e-cards, I believe. So just wanted to have you all just kind of take a moment to pause and think about any of your students that directly report to you. Is there somebody who deserves a note of recognition or thanks? Again, just reminding yourselves, keeping it specific. What did that person do? What impact did they have for our team? How did this help the team or the students that we're serving? If you'd like to take a few minutes to look through those, send one out to one of your students or a fellow colleague of your own. But feel free to utilize that there. I forgot to click next on my slides. I'm so sorry. But let's go ahead and give that kind of recognition again. If you'd like to utilize the link that we just shared in the chat, feel free. But again, hopefully you all are coming up with different ways that you can start showing or continue showing appreciation and recognition to your students. Thank you, Eric. Eric just said in the chat, he just sent out two to two of his student workers. So wonderful. Love to see it. I love to hear it. But with that being said, we are coming to the end of our session today. We do have about 10 minutes left. So wanted to open it up. If anybody had additional questions, comments at this time, feel free to, again, come off mute, throw it in the chat. And if we don't have any questions, comments, concerns, I will just say thank you, Patty, for joining us today. As you see on the screen here, if you want any additional help, support, maybe a presentation from Patty or her team over there at the Leadership and Workforce Development, feel free to give them an email there at lwd@asu.edu. But again, with that being said, thank you all for joining us today. I can't wait to see next week what everybody is doing to celebrate their students. And I'm going to do one more shameless plug for our end of the year celebration event that we have next Friday on the Tempe campus from 10:30 to 12:30 in the Student Services Lawn. We are having just a celebration again for any student employees, any supervisors, or those that work with the students. Stop by the Student Services Lawn, join us. There'll be food, games, music, again, just a celebration to recognize and appreciate all the hard work we all are doing. In addition to that, we also will be announcing the winners for ASU's first ever Student Employment Supervisor of the Year, as well as some of our Working Learner of the Year awards. So again, please join us for that. But with that being said, thank you all. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I can't wait to see what everyone's doing next week.
Thank you.